Welcome into the studio and this Jaguar pastel tutorial taken from my over 3-hour lesson over on my Patreon art channel. So if you're looking for all the detail with lots and lots of real-time video footage and tips and techniques, Patreon is the one to look at. But I still think you can learn a lot by showing a speed painting, so a speeded up version here on YouTube. Hope you enjoy it. Now on this particular demo I actually demonstrate how I drew it freehand using proportional dividers first, so for anybody who wants to learn how to do freehand drawing, this one's a good one for you to look at. But of course it's perfectly fine if you wanted to trace it or transfer it any other ways. Just on this one I wanted to show something a bit different and exactly how I would do it using freehand and with that proportional divider tool. After I'd finished the drawing, I transferred it over to my brown pastel mat paper, and you can see here I also then put the spots in, the Jaguar spots and markings, using black gouache paint. Now the benefit behind using the paint is that, as you can see, the markings don't smudge, they stay in place as I'm going over the top here with my Panpastels. Now remember, Panpastels are not completely opaque, so I'm using that to my advantage. And it allows me, as you can see, to see those markings through it, and that greatly makes things a lot easier to do. I put in the background using pans as well, and now I'm just starting with my second layer, my detail layer, and I'm beginning with the eye, just building it up very gradually. Now the whole thing that works with this drawing is that feeling of light and darkness with the Jaguar coming out of the dark. So I need to make sure that some of my markings are really hard edged on the fur markings and others around the edge are nice and soft. Here you can see I'm putting in the dark texture first using my pastel pencils, then I'm coming in with the light texture, those fur markings, making sure they go in that growing and the direction they're lying in. Now you can use your pencils on background as well, on top of Panpastels. All of the pastel supplies are intermixable, the soft pastel supplies, so you can use your pans, your pastel sticks as well. Here once again I'm putting in that texture layer. So the basic colour, the basic tone is put in with Panpastels in this case, although on my other demos I also show just working with only pencils or working with pastel sticks and pencils. So there's many ways to do it. I don't try to sell you onto buying any particular supplies. I like to show lots of ways of getting the same type of effect. Here I'm working on the other eye and then coming out and branching away from that as I start once again to put in the darker textures first and then put in the lighter textures, all those lovely details on top. And after I've done that initial layer with Panpastels, you can see I use pastel pencils virtually all of the time. My favourite brands are Carbothello and Pitt pastel pencils. They're the ones you see me use most often. I also sometimes use Derwent, Gioconda, and very occasionally I may use a Caran d'Ache pencil or two, but I don't use those very often. As you could see, because those markings were in place with the gouache, it was easy for me then to darken them with the pencils on top because I knew the exact shape and position they were. With the nose, you can see I used a paper stump to make sure that I pushed the pastel into the surface because I wanted the nose to look quite smooth. I covered that a lot, as I said, in my Patreon demo. When you've got 3 hours, you can really look at the details and exactly how I'm holding my pencil, how I'm using the paper stumps to blend. And if you notice, you can get sometimes a grainy appearance when you're using pastel mat paper. I also show how to get from that as well. But those really long videos don't do well on YouTube at all, so I like to use these shorter videos on YouTube so that I can give a general overall idea of exactly how I do my drawings. Now the muzzle, that needs shorter strokes, gradually working from dark to light, And sometimes if I want a really opaque background, that's when I'm using pastel sticks, as I am now. And you can always turn your drawing paper so that if you're working at an angle or even upright, that your pastel doesn't then fall on the surface of the drawing underneath. Now on the back we've got lots of these blues and purple highlights where that light from the sky above is influencing the dark black stripes and spots and markings. And those areas in the back, they're receding from us, so I need these to be really nice and soft looking and blended and blurred. That attracts the attention then really to the sharp focused head and face, my centre of interest. The ears, I needed to go in with the dark first. With pastels we don't need to reserve light areas like you may do with coloured pencil, so it's much easier, I find, and substantially quicker using pastels. So I've gone in with the darks, then I'm going slightly lighter with my browns, and then my greys, and you can see that I can start to pick out then eventually individual haze and put those details in place. Now gradually working lighter, saving my bright whites right till the end, my highlights. As I come forward, I'm still making sure that these markings are a bit softer than the details on the head. You need that gradual softening from the far distance and increasing details very slightly as I come forward in this pastel painting. You don't want a really sharp transition from blur to focused elements, detailed elements. Now in this bottom section it's really quite dark, kind of a greeny blue colour, and I'm using a Derwent pencil on the side just to make sure everything is dark enough. That's what's going to give me that appearance of the head coming forwards in this particular pastel work. Now the details here are very, very subtle and very soft. I'm putting a few more dark spots in. Just a few indications, hints of details, and then I can start finishing off the head and the face with more of the details. Gradually working lighter. I'm not going in with my very bright highlights fast at all. I'm saving those right till the end. And now I've zoomed back so we can see the whole drawing, and you can see that I like to get the reference photo really very close to my drawing, and if possible I find it's much easier to work from it if it's the actual size of my drawing as well. The brain doesn't have to compute and do different things, and I like to keep things as easy as I possibly can. My drawing looks a bit smaller just because the camera is off to the left hand side and shooting across, so you get a bit of recession there, but they are actually an identical size. Just starting to work on the chin, putting in the details there. The whiskers of course will be the last thing of all. I'm using glassine paper and a magnet to rest my hand on. That's just so that I don't smudge anything that's underneath after all that hard work I put in. And then starting with the whiskers. Now you can use a coloured pencil for that if you don't want them to be really bright at all. If you want them to be bright and crisp, that's when you come in with the more opaque pastel pencils. Now it does take a steady hand and a little bit of nerve as well, just to get them exactly how I wanted them. And with this demo as well, I wanted to see how much detail or the appearance of detail I could get on such a small scale of just about 9 or 10 inches tall. I usually work quite a bit larger. So as I said, I hope you've enjoyed this short, brief overview. If you want to see a lot more detail, lots more tips and techniques, I think you'd enjoy the video over on my Patreon channel, and when you join on the tier you get access to all the videos I've done over the last 4 years on that tier, so a mountain of material and videos for you to learn from. I'll see you all again real soon. Just wanted to quickly mention my Patreon channel for those looking for even more in-depth art instruction. It's packed full of pastel videos, oil videos as well, and those videos are being added to new ones every single month. I have videos for the complete beginner that have never done pastels or oils before with just limited supplies, and I take you from the very first blocking in all the way through to the final detailed drawings and paintings. I've also got some really unusual subjects as well, and in all of my videos I always take you through all the details. You see everything I do, how I create my work. But it's not just for beginners, it's also for novices, and I also show the best artwork that I've ever done as well. And this particular elephant video spans 6 hours, so you know you're going to see tons and tons of details, tips and techniques. And as mentioned, I've got lots of oil videos on there too, so there really is something for everybody, and you get access to hundreds of hours worth of videos for just $4. Now over 1,000 members strong. Hope to see you there soon.